Welcome to the Writer's Game Podcast, where we help you magnify your voice and monetize your message. And now, let's get into the show.
Welcome to another episode of the Writer's Game Podcast, where we help you magnify your voice and monetize your message. I am your host, Kyle King, and I have one of my guys with me. One of my guys, special somebody to me. He's been through our Writer's Game program, but it's not just about what he's been through. It's what he's been able to accomplish in his life and how he's continuing to inspire so many people through his business, through his books, and through a lot of the offers that he's created to make people better. Adrian, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Kyle, I'm doing great, man. Excited to be here. I'm looking forward to a session today.
Oh, yeah. Nah, you already know. So before we get into the weeds of all of the different strategies that I know you have, all of the different techniques that you're leveraging, who are you at your core and how are you inspiring the world?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So my name is Adrian McGee. I am an entrepreneur and the CEO of Systems Acceleration, as well as the CEO of the Grind Season. And so I love having these two different formats because it explains me to a T. So the Grind Season is essentially a platform where I leverage to motivate people, to get people to the next level, to get them to tap into their potential. And it's just a great I'll say a great platform that has like really driven change. Like I've had people contact me like, hey, I just left my 9-to-5 from like the podcast that you interviewed, so that I have that. And I think that's more around my purpose. And then Systems Acceleration, where we essentially remove people from their business so that way they can create the impact in the world. So I'm all about impact and value is what I kind of stand by. So, initially when I was creating a business, I'm like, well, I can create a business and, have impact. But what I've learned from you as well, Kyle, is, if you teach other people how to create a business, then you're like 10xing that impact, 100xing that impact. So that's what I'm all about, man. I'm all about impact and just really getting people to shine their light and live within their purpose.
Talk to me about a time where you wanted to be inspired, you wanted to be motivated, that would have led to you being impacted, but you didn't have the necessary support, coaching, or mentorship.
Yeah, I honestly, Kyle, man, I've been lucky, I will say. Like I've always been in environments where people have kind of pulled me through when I've needed it. And then we live in such a different space now, man, with the internet. It's like, if I can't find like a mentor, or I can't find the immediate kind of information that I need to get what I want, it's like you just go on the internet and connect with someone and then they typically can do it. Or if they can't do it, they typically will connect someone to it. So I've never really struggled with that. And I think it's just because I always carry positive energy and good intentions with every connection that I make. So we just live in a different space now. It's like there's not really a reason not to find mentorship or coaching unless you're being cheap and don't want to pay or something like that.
I think that's so powerful what you said, though. As long as you come with good intentions and good energy and willing to make the investment, and sometimes it's not just an investment of money, but it's in time, it's in whatever you can invest, right? When you think about coming with good intention and coming with energy, could you talk about the importance of being a good human in order to be able to be produced into a good CEO?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I always tell people, if you chase money, it's never going to be enough. So if you have like an ill intention and like money is the sole reasoning for everything, like it just won't be enough to keep you going. And so what I've always found is finding that deeper level of your why, the purpose, and, money can be a driver for that. Don't get me wrong. You need money to really create impact that we really want to create, but it can't be like the number one, like the overall goal. So what I found is when I evaluate my why, like, why am I doing this? Why do I want this money? Why do I want to make this connection? And I come down to that reason. And if I have an emotional attachment to it, then it's always going to be pure energy and good intentions with it because we're just emotional beings. The things that we tie emotions to are the things that we're going to clinch onto and the things that are going to make us execute and go forward. So that's what I always say, man. It's just like, just find out that why that you are connected to emotionally, and then you'll become unstoppable.
Talk to us a little bit, Adrian, about your why.
So my why is I just love seeing people win. Like if I can look at the end of, like, I created a business model that is literally driven by other people succeeding. And so with that, it's like it's an unbreakable business model, because it's literally like for me to win, you have to win. And so I always like clinch on the clients who also have like the same mentality as I do, and just really just driving that impact, tenfold. And typically when I find clients with that, I connect much better to them because we all have the same intention. And so it's pretty dope, because my why, which is helping people win and create more impact, typically drives down to my clients where they do the same thing. And I guess to kind of answer your question too, Kyle, is just I didn't grow up in the best environment. I personally had like both my parents in a home, and I had a pretty good environment at home, but I was surrounded by a bunch of people who had really poor environments, and you could see how that kind of impacted them down the road. And so I really want to get people to understand, like, your environment, like your world is so much bigger than this environment. And once you step out of it and realize your deeper purpose, then your environment won't become a reflection of your reality.
I really appreciate you saying that, man, because I think so many times, especially within the Black community, it's always this story of, I grew up in this one parent home, or I grew up in struggle, or I grew up in the hood selling drugs, all these different things. So it is good to continue to talk about the narrative that I didn't grow up like that. I had a good in-home environment, but I was still influenced by the different things in my peers or other environments out there that maybe had, whether it was a mindset of poverty, or they actually physically grew up in poverty as well. You often talk about mindset. You often go to that as a singular and a critical step as you continue to grow your success. How have you gotten to developing your mindset outside of just reading books and investing in podcasts? How have you gotten to a point where you've been able to build a strong success mindset?
Man, you are going to probably laugh at this, but I'll be honest, man, like my mindset like grew tremendously from writing my own book.
Let's go.
It's like it's nuts. It's nuts. Like, and I always say this, when I wrote my book, it really made me reflect on everything that went well in my life and the things that didn't go well. And like when I like shed a light on all of those different things, and I packaged it into something that can that other people can actually grab and hold and walk away with, it made me really dig deep into like, what mindset do I have to even reach the next level that I have? And the way that I was really able to kind of run that diagnostic was by writing a book and figuring out what was my story, what worked, like, how did I attain this versus the time that I struggled to attain this? And it just shed light on so many things. And I will say that's when I discovered my why, is like after I wrote the book, because it was nuts, man. It was nuts because it was like when I dove deep into my childhood and things, and I started looking at like the people I grew up with who aren't necessarily like at the same, like doing the same things as I am. I'm like, what was the difference? And, and it made me dig deep and say, okay, let me even lay it out even more in a book. So that way I can pass this book off to children that grew up in the neighborhoods that I grew up in. And I will tell you, man, the best feeling was when I donated like 100 books to a school. Like, it was the best. To a football team. I donated like 100 books to a football team that I grew up down the street from. And that just took the mindset even further. It's like, man, like, what if I can give 1 million of these books away? And it's just like the impact just drives. And it just makes you more hungry, Yo,
it's so profound. And that's definitely the clip that I'll probably use as the recap for this podcast, is that you just said it felt amazing and you felt fulfilled and you found your purpose when you wrote your book. But you said it took you to another level when you were able to donate 100 books. And then you continue to say, like, damn, what would it feel like to donate 1 million books? That level of impact. See, the problem with a lot of people listening, the problem with a lot of people watching, the problem with a lot of people that hear a lot of things are that they're focusing on making $1 million instead of giving out 1 million books. And that's why they probably won't make $1 million in their lifetime. Talk to me about how you got to this mindset or this belief or this sense of core values that you're so focused on giving more than receiving.
Yeah, man, that's a good question. Honestly, when I reflect on like when I stepped into that high, like I basically went to a football coach, right? And this was a method, you showed me this method. Take a book and take it to the coach and say, hey, I would love to come speak. With not looking for money or anything, like, this was truly like I wanted to give back. And when I like spoke for like 30 minutes to this football team and told them how football like kept me out of like a bunch of stuff that I could have gotten involved with, that allowed me to escape, how I leveraged like the experience of football to become successful in life, like high school football, and how, and again, I shine light on this because I wrote the book and I wrote a whole chapter about it, And so when I was able to step there and talk to those kids, like my initial reaction was, man, they might not be paying attention, they like just another guy coming in to talk. But for me, it was like, let's shoot for it. I've never done like a speaking engagement like that before. But when I like spoke to these students, like these high school athletes, they were so in tune to everything I was saying, like asking questions. But what really broke it? When I said, I got some books, like if anyone's interested, like, let me know. I'll make sure I get the coach a book for you. And, every single one of those students said, can I please have a book?
Wow.
And it changed everything right there. It changed everything because it was like, it's one thing to do something that pushes impact. It's another thing that push impact that people actually want and they crave. It's like,
talk to us a little bit more about that concept that you just said.
Yeah, how like, and maybe I'm just thinking of when I was in school and like we would have these boring speakers come and like, people who you can tell the school just paid them a bunch of money. They just, whatever. And I think like I'm just going through the motions, right? But I felt as though when I like spoke and coming from like where I was, where it's like, when I talked to them, I was like, hey, I grew up down the street, like I grew up, this was supposed to be my home school. I didn't even go there. But it sparked a different interest, a different level of interest into those people, into those students. And you can just tell they wanted me to go more. They wanted me to go on longer, like we want more. They want to ask questions, and that gave me a deeper craving to give because it's like, I got something that people actually want, it's different.
What did that do for you? When you realize, when you realize that your level of impact or what you can bring to the world or your purpose is good enough, what did that do for you?
Man, it just made me realize there's a lot more. Like there's a lot more to get. It's we get stuck in this the norm, right? Just like working a 9 to 5, maybe do some things to give back, maybe give back on like Thanksgiving or some charity events, maybe donate, do ties, things like that, right? That's the norm. But what that did was it opened up an entire like portal where it's like I have to reach more levels of success because now I know like there's people watching me, and it's like me getting somewhere and me accomplishing something. And by me creating a platform where I can share these accomplishments to push other people to do the same thing, it just makes you want to accomplish more and more. And just that one setting, like just opened the door for that. And so I'll be honest, like I am like this year, I am anticipating on like taking off on speaking. Like I'm talking like around the country, like taking off. And it was solely because of that event. And honestly, Kyle, it helped me build, it really pushed me to create a business where I can leave my 9 to 5 and now I can like travel and speak while also like my business is continuing to operate. So
powerful. But that started from your book, right?
The book changed everything. Like honestly, Kyle, I always said, if you would have talked to me a year and a half ago and asked me what my plans were, I'm like, I'm gonna just keep moving up the corporate chain. I'm gonna just become a vice president and be living good, making $250K a year, good salary and just giving back. But like after I wrote that book and I realized like what's inside of me, like, it was over. It was like, the 9 to 5 has to go. Like I can't reach the level that I want to reach with the 9 to 5. And it changed the game for me.
Talk to somebody listening right now that is in that 9 to 5, that has a good job or maybe is so focused on moving up that corporate ladder that hasn't become the author of their story yet. Talk to them about the other things that your book has allowed you to do in building programs and building businesses and automating and doing those different things as well.
Yeah, I want to say like the book just helped me realize like a new level of talent. Like I would say like a new level of skill, where I can now leverage the things that I've been through to like impact other people. So I want to say like that was the biggest thing, right? And so through my through my programs, like I have a program that like, again, removes you from the business, creates systems, all that good stuff. But a lot of times, like a lot of my clients, when I get done and we're talking about just, their feedback and, I'm getting a review, most will often say like the mindset piece is one of the biggest things that come with the program. So it's like unintentional. It's not even about, my plan is to just remove you from the business so you can, do what you want. But just the conversations of our coaching sessions, people walk away with so much of the mindset. And I believe that like, again, unintentionally became a part of my program. And it just is, again, because when I wrote the book, it shined a new light. Like, it was just like, it just made me dive deep. I will say that I did launch a program specifically from the book, just the mindset. And it was actually really good. It created a lot of impact, but I wanted to really tap into the skills that I've gained from my 9 to 5. And so it is really interesting because we start to realize like what our passions are and things like that when we write a book. And then you might realize like, hey, I want to do this. All right, what can I take from my 9 to 5 to help me do this? And it opens up the door because corporations have so many resources. They have so many things that you have access to that can build you into a better individual overall. A lot of people think of development plans and they think of how can I develop myself to be better for the company, instead of saying, how can I develop myself to become better like in the market or as a whole? And I will always tell people, if you're in a 9 to 5, especially for a big corporation, if they're going to pay for you to go tuition reimbursement, take it. Like, no doubt, it's just free money, right? If they're going to send you to conferences, if they're going to pay for you to take like programs and get credentials, my advice is to take advantage of all of that. And then as you're writing your book, what you'll notice is that like you just have more. You just have more in your arsenal, like more to leverage to create impact and do the things that you want to do, for what you identify as success.
Talk to us a little about you've written this book, you have courses, but now you've evolved as a business. Talk to us a little bit about how someone can engage with your business and what they would get, what would their transformation get once they're through your programs?
Yeah. So as far as my program, I typically will take someone who is like working 40 hours a week in their business. Like, they're doing everything in their business. They don't have any employees. They probably don't have any systems or automation set up, and they're just grinding it. Like, they're just getting it in. And so typically when I say I remove you from the business, because it's like fully optional. It's like, if you want to step away from your business and not do anything else in it, like, you can, like, once you're finished with my program. But what typically happens is people now remove themselves from like doing low level, I want to say low level, but lower value work for the business. And so what typically happens is now people have like an additional 20 to 30 hours per week to work on things that will help them grow the business, that will help them transform clients, like do the things that they love in the business. So what turns out happening is people are like doubling or even tripling their revenue as a result of going through the program. And it's because they now have more time to do things that can help them grow the business and get revenue. So that's one of the biggest, like, that's one of the things I love the most, because now people have freedom. Like, if you own a gym and you go through my program, you now have like people operating that gym. So now you can go on vacation with your family, or you can go speak across the world. You can do whatever you want. You can create content, whatever you want. And so I love the fact that people that go through my program, they now walk away with just flexibility and freedom to kind of do as they please, which could be pouring back into the business or opening up another business, like whatever you want. And that's the beauty of it.
When you think about what you do, I'm sure you have a specific model or step-by-step process that allows you to help people. What would be your top 3 strategies that you implement with your clients that you could share today that could at least get somebody started in their journey?
Yeah, good question. So I will say like the first thing is going to be to identify what you do today. Like as a CEO of your business, you are literally the most important factor of that business. Like every hour that you put into your business is the most valuable part about like your business being able to grow. So the first thing that we do is we typically will lay out every single thing that you are doing as a CEO and just write it. It's simple. We just write it down. That's it. Like literally we create process maps of everything that you told us. We identify where you are in that process and just like that's the first thing. After that, the next thing is we do an evaluation of those processes you are doing, and then we say, all right, like this process that you are doing, one is not generating no money for the business. It's something that you can pay someone $15 to $20 an hour to do, maybe even 5 or 6 if you go overseas virtually. It's something super easy. It doesn't impact your clients. It's just not important. So the next thing we do is we literally will remove those items off of your plate through automation and delegation strategies. So that's like number 2. Like that's the next thing we have to do. The third thing is now that we have a solid foundation of your business, now we create systems that can just attract your ideal client like 24/7 on autopilot. So, we figure out like, it's like a house, right? You don't want to build on top of a bad foundation. So the reasoning that we figure out what you're doing, the reasoning that we remove you and set up delegation automation is we set that solid foundation. Like every business needs to have a solid foundation. And then once that foundation is set, now we can build. Now we can get more clients to come your way. Now we can start generating revenue because now you can actually handle it, because before you were just all over the place. You couldn't really do it. But now you have the time and the freedom to do so. And so that's like, I would say that's like a high level kind of 3-phase breakout for the transformation we create.
No, that's definitely dope, man. I didn't even think about it from that perspective. And if anybody's listening right now, hopefully you're taking notes. Hopefully you just took notes on the 3 steps to be able to automate your business so that you could save time and essentially scale at a high level as well. Could you talk to us a little bit about, I guess, your prize client? I think we all, in the coaching space has that client that really had amazing results or a great transformation, something that really made you feel good or feel proud. Could you talk about what that was and what that did for you?
Man, yeah, I will say like it's so crazy how this always works, because typically like your ideal client or prize client is someone that's close to you who wasn't like technically a client. It's just someone who believed in you, took your advice, and you probably like did it for free. So like my client, I will say, is my business partner actually, who has crazy knowledge when it comes to stocks. Like this dude is making $1,000 a day in like 10 minutes a day trading stocks. And so I'm like, dude, you got to teach people how to do this. Like, let's package what you have into a course and put it on autopilot and just like create a mentorship, and things like that. And now he's like cracking easily, 5 figures a month from coaching alone. And then he also has another business, a credit repair business, where I literally went in for him and just like cleaned it all the way out. So now he has another 5 figures a month coming from the credit repair business. So I will say that would be it, because one, someone close who believed in me enough to take the advice that I was giving them and like let me go in and do my thing. Because it's funny, man, like 6 months ago, I used to like try to help people with their business for free and just to get testimonials, and like I don't know, they don't take you serious, or they think they can do it on their own, whatever. Exactly. And like now looking back, it's like, wow, like I can't believe I tried to do this for free for some people and like they wouldn't take it. But now it's like I got a program that's $5,000 to $10,000, like, and I don't even do anything because I built a team that does everything in it now. So it's just a beautiful kind of outcome. But I will say that's going to be most important to me. One, because, we're still growing his business. And then number 2, he was able to leave his 9 to 5 because of the revenue that was coming in as a result. So it's kind of just a beautiful outcome when we think about it.
No, that's definitely dope, man. I think that when I think about my life in general, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, all these different titles that we use, I think, sitting down with people like yourself, and hearing from, certain clients that have come through the program, or hearing your success story, or you hearing other people's story really fuels my spirit and pours into my cup. I think so many times we get so much information from our mentors and coaches and all these people that we invest from, but I feel like the most beautiful moments are the opposite end, when we trusted in ourselves and gave information to someone and it actually worked and they're able to take it to the next level. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Oftentimes we come on podcasts, we read books, we have conversations with people, we have coaching sessions, and we never get to say that thing that we thought about after the podcast finishes. You had 60 seconds to share any message with the world, and every single person in the world had to hear it. What would you say?
Yeah, I will say you got to really like attract the things that you want in life. I think that we get stuck in this frenzy of just chasing things, especially with social media and the way like everyone perceives like lifestyle marketing. And we get so caught up in just chase. And you got to remember what happens when we chase things, they run away. So, if we're always caught in chasing money and materialistic things, we're never going to really get it. And if we do get it, we're not going to be able to hold on to it because we weren't aligned to it. And so what I will say is that the best advice that I will always give is always try to develop the habits, the behavior, the emotions, the thought process, the mindset that like aligns with the thing that you want to receive, because that's what's going to allow you to get it. It's going to allow you to keep it. And then also once you become aligned with it, the bar like gets set even higher, and then you can become aligned with even more of it. And then alignment is so big. We think of alignment and we think about the law of attraction and things like that, but it's really real because it's really just talking about the things that you like naturally gravitate towards. Like you, Kyle, if you see someone talking about a book, you're going to jump in that conversation immediately. Like, hey, what book, right? But if someone was talking about sports and you're not really interested in sports, you're just going to walk by as if it never happened. So we have to start naturally becoming attached to things that we want. And then that's when we'll really start to actually grab them and hold on to them for a lifetime.
That's powerful. And anybody that's listening, I want you to own that. I want you to attract the things that you want. I want you to remain in alignment with the person that you want to be able to become. I want you to invest in mentorship. I want you to be able to invest in yourself, whether it's your time, your talent, your energy, whether it's physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, whatever that is. I want you to be able to invest yourself. I want you to take more pride and appreciate the client success stories, but I also want you to take pride and appreciate the process before you had the client success stories. And we want you to be able to tell your story, because just like Adrian showcased that it allowed him to find his why, but not just allowed him to find his why, it allowed him to be more impactful and spread his wings further to be able to expand his reach, his visibility, and his knowledge from football, from schools to football teams, to different people, from clients to coaching, mentees, all of these different things. We want you to share your story. Adrian, if you had that client, that person, that individual that was struggling right now, that is in between careers, that's in between relationships, that's in between dreams, that hasn't really committed 100% to anything, or even maybe working 40 hours and 60 hours a week in their business alone, and they feel like giving up. What would you say to that person?
I will say, understand that the process is iterative. Like nothing is ever just like done and solid, right? When I left my 9-to-5, it was freaking scary. Like I was shook, but then I had to keep thinking like, hey, as long as I gotta go all in. That's one. I gotta go all in, which whatever this direction I go. And that's huge. Like you always gotta go all the way in. And just remember, if you go all in and things don't always work out to the way that you want it to go, you can always start over. Like, it's not like life is over because you left your 9-to-5 and like your business didn't work out. Just get another job, and that's what I realized. Like if I left my job and start, shoot for this entrepreneurship thing, right? And then I wanted to go back, I could easily go get another job and probably make more money than what I left with at my previous 9-to-5, because now I got experience of owning a business. So it's like you can't lose. And I think that's the biggest thing is we always tie like, what if I go all in and I lose? Well, like you might lose, like, you probably won't do everything 100% like correctly, but the biggest thing is taking those items and making them lessons and being able to apply it to future situations. And I will say that's been kind of one of my biggest things, has been like jumping into entrepreneurship. You have a really big month, you have a slow month, but then it's like, what do I do with that slow month? Do I I got to sit back, see what I did right, what I did wrong, and make the next month better. And I can only do that if I go 100% all in and I'm fully committed to it.
That's good, bro. I think so many times we have good months, we have bad months, but then we get so down instead of really reflecting on what went wrong so that I can continue to do better in this area. Where can people find you? Where can people support you? How can people pay you so that they can be able to get forward in their journey as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm most active on Instagram. So you can find me at The Grind Season. So it's just spelled out, The Grind Season. You can also just search Adrian McGee. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm starting to finally get active on LinkedIn. I got to tell you about that. But also on LinkedIn. And honestly, in regards to the service I provide, if you're an entrepreneur and if you're stuck at 2 or 3K, maybe you're just stuck and flat at where you are and you're working fully in your business. I have a program, a do it for you program, where we just go in and we clean you out. I got a whole team. We literally document your processes. We develop the automations. We do everything. Fully remove you. We fully guarantee to free up 20 plus hours a week from your business, which means if we don't free up 20 plus hours, you don't pay. And that's how we come, man. We get results. So if you're interested, if you're a busy entrepreneur, if you want to catch freedom, if you want to increase your revenue, then we're the team that can do it for you. So you can find us on IG. Just book a free consultation, and I will tell you exactly what your business needs in less than 30 minutes within that consultation.
I like this, bro. I like this.
That's how we coming, bro.
No, I know. I already know. Anybody listening right now, I want you to go follow. I want you to go book your strategy session. I want you to book your discovery call, but I want you to have your checkbooks or your debit card or your credit card ready, because I want you to invest in yourself. I've seen this man in action. I vouch for him. He's definitely about his business, and his team gets results. It's efficiency and effectiveness, and he gets it done for you. So if you're still listening with us right now, I want you to get it done. And I want you to understand that this is your season because it's grind season. Let's get it. I'm your host, Kyle King. This is the Writer's Game podcast, where we help you magnify your voice and monetize your message. I'm here with my man, Adrian, and we'll see you guys next episode.